Battleship game, creating your board. So to start with, first slide says go to your Google Drive, and in the folder for this class, you're going to create your Battleship board. So just follow along here. I'm going to do this quickly so people can do it in class. So I would go to my drive and go down to my GMS folder and go to my class, 7th grade, and in my class, and say it's Digicom. And while I'm in there, then that's where I would create my new Google Sheet. And then looking at the slideshow, it says last name, rename it. So first thing I would do when my sheet opens up is to come up and rename it. So I open it up and I rename it Brooks B R Battleship. Done. There we go. Next slide. Select the entire sheet and choose center alignment. So I would go to select the entire sheet up top there, and then up to my alignment, go to center alignment. That means everything in that sheet is going to be aligned center. So, and I'm going through these quickly, but again, you will have this video and you'll have these instructions. So just follow along so you can see what we're doing ahead of time. So everything is selected again, and then I'm going to put my cursor between the columns to adjust the columns, because when we want with this, when we're done with it, we want to have squares. So everything is still selected. So now that it's all selected, I just go to one of the columns up top here until I get my double cursor, the arrow, double arrow, and then I shrink it down so that it's about a square, so it makes entire squares there. Very good. Next slide. Oops, there we go. Should look like that. That's what we just did. And then I'm going to make 2 square grids, 10 by 10. So on my square, on my sheet here that I just made, where'd it go? Oh, wrong way. There we go. I leave a couple spaces for headers, and I'm going to put my numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down through my 10. And across the top, and if I look at the instructions, it says I'm going to make letters to J across the top. So up above that, and I'm going to do it all caps, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and there's my 10. So there I've got those there. And then it says to make a square. So I make the whole thing a square. So I highlight that there and I put the border around it. Boom. Okay. And I'm going to do that for two different grids. So if you know how to do copy and paste, then I can easily go and copy and paste that. And now I've got 2 grids. Made 2 of them look just like that. 10 by 10 grid with the letters on them. Then I go and I make my battleships. Battleships, that's where I'm just using the color coding. So I'm going to go ahead and 3 of them, and I'm going to shade those with these, getting them my blue ships. And it looks like when I look at the instructions, I'm going to make 1 4, 2 of them 3, 3 of them 2, and 4 of them 1. So this should be a 4. Okay, there we go. And then 3 here, 3 here, and then a 2, and then a 2, and then a 1. Oh, I got to do 3 of those 2s, don't I? 4 of the 1s. Okay, so I've got my battleship set up for that one. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my opponent's grid. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and do 4, and this one's going to be different colors, so it's my opponent's, and do the same thing. And if you see me doing things here and you see how it's really quick and I'm not jumping up top there, what I'm doing is doing the Control Y. A Control Y means repeat the last thing I just did. So once I've colored one square, a shade, then I can click another shade and I can say Control Y. Yes, I'm going to post this video. That's why I'm doing it now. So that Control Y just repeats the last thing I did. So anytime I'm doing anything, a border, lines, whatever it is. So there we go. I made my battleships. There we go. And now I'm going to place those somewhere in my grid. So I want to hide my battleships. So same thing here. I've got my 4. So I'm going to pick those that are going to be my battleships for me. And this is where I'm just kind of placing them. And I got 3 of them. There we go. And then maybe I make my single one up here, single one there. I don't know. This, you guys shouldn't be cheating. You shouldn't be watching me do this because you're seeing where my ships are now. So now I can't play you because then you're going to know. So I've got, now the big thing here, once I'm done with this, it says here, place your ships in chosen locations. You got to make sure that you've counted them. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ships. And then they're all the right size. I've got my 4, check them off. I got my 3 and 3, and I got my 2 and 2 and 2, and my 1, 1, 1, 1. So there, so I got all my ships placed. So that's my board. And my opponent's board is the other one. So I've got that done. And that my finished game is ready to go. So now that my game is ready to go, and because I started this in the right location in the folder, it's there, and I've named it, it's there as my name, so I've got my game board set up. So I'm ready to go when I email other people. Now to play, looking at this here, the instructions, you're going to be assigned a partner and you're going to fire. So on the instructions, when you read this, it says fire a shot by sending the coordinates to your opponent. Example F4. So I would say, okay, let's say that I'm playing Riley, and I'd say, okay, Riley, you decide who goes first. However, we're going to do this. I'll figure that out later. But so Riley, I go first, and I say F4. So this spot here is my F4. So he tells me if that's a hit or a miss. And on the instructions put here, it says, mark your shot on your opponent's grid to keep track. If you hit a boat with your shot, shade it with a red square. If you miss, put an X. So if Riley says, when I go to that, he says F4, that's a miss, then I'm just going to put an X there. And then he shoots, and he says he shoots D, or he shoots D5. So I'm going to mark over there, you shot D5, that's a miss. And then my turn, I say, okay, I'm going to go D, I'm going to copy you, D5. And then you say, he says, oh, that's a hit. So now I'm going to shade that, go up here and shade it as a red square. Boom. So I know that I've hit something on his boat. So then it's his turn. And he says, okay, I'm going to go, what do you say, D5? And I'm going to go, he says, I'm going to go C9. And so I tell that's a miss. So you're marking on your boat where he shoots, so you can kind of go back and forth with each other. And then I shoot for him. Okay, I know I hit the boat there, so I'm going to go D6. And he says, that's a miss. It's like, shoot, okay, I must have hit, either I hit a single boat, which he would tell me if you sunk his boat. And if, but I know he didn't say I sunk it. So one of these squares around that's got to be another hit. So you're going to be doing this. Now, the key thing here is you're doing this via email. So that means you're going to have to be checking emails and responding back and forth. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So we're going to be doing this in class. I'll start and I'll send you guys off, and you'll be doing email back and forth. So you'll send an email to your partner with your shot. They'll respond back with a hit or a miss and their shot. And then you'll go and mark your board, and then you'll respond back with a hit or a miss and your shot. But like I said, if Riley shoots and he says, okay, he says G2, and I say, okay, G2, that is a hit. So I mark an X on it, and you sank one of my ships. So he knows his G2, that was a single hit. He is not going to fire around that one looking for more of that ship. He already shot it. So then I go back here and I say, okay, well, I'm going to go D4. He says, that's a miss. So I was like, dang, man, I'm sneaking up on this thing. So it's got to be one side or the other now. And then he shoots, okay, and he does another shot, F5, that's a miss. And then I say E5. He says, that's a hit. Yes, that's a hit. So I'm going to mark that one. And he says, and you sank my ship. So I must have sank one of the double ships. So what I want to do down below is mark those off. So I'm going to go ahead and mark both of those shot. He shot and he knows, okay, he hit one of my ships, so and sank it. So you're keeping track down below which ones that you hit and which ones you've sank. But like I said, you're not going to be able to mark sank until he tells you that it sank, or she, if you're playing Addy or someone else. So